Hello, this is Ronnie on YouTube. I am 100% raw vegan diet. I've been doing that since 2012, but I did have a period where I fell off of that, so not continuously. And what's that? Nearly 7 years, right? And what I'm looking at now is that there was a time where this movement, and probably the time that I got into it, this idea, this philosophy, this type of diet, where it was very popular online on YouTube, and I think the particular people were so good at YouTube or were so popular on YouTube that if you typed in vegan, that raw vegans were coming up, and then all the raw vegans connected to them were coming up, and a lot of people who were getting into veganism started to get into this thing. The raw veganism, and raw veganism is the end point of diet. There's no further place to go. It doesn't get healthier. You can't take out fruit from your diet and it gets healthier. You can't remove the vegetables and it gets healthier. You know, you're at the end point. But at that point there was definitely a kind of a bubble where a lot of people got into it, and it was almost like a pyramid scheme effect where people were getting into it. They were going on YouTube because it was growing, they were getting popular, and then people were being inspired by them, and then they were jumping. So it was growing like a kind of like a bubble grows, and many of those people now are not doing the raw vegan diet anymore, and many aren't doing a vegan diet, and many aren't doing a healthy diet. So I guess they went from wanting to be healthy to not being particularly bothered about being healthy anymore, which is what the average person is. It's the situation of the average person. They are focused more on other priorities of life, and they don't think their health is that important, or it's not that much different to everyone else, so they just let it, they let it slide or whatever. Which is normal. It's normal, it's average, it's normal behaviour. And it's not normal to really be doing things that are outside of the normal to be healthy, and as an experiment and as a challenge to yourself to see if you can be healthy, if you can better yourself, if you can live a better life and inspire people and help people maybe reverse disease and illness and live better lives. And I think we all want to make a good impact on other people. Well, a lot of these people, they're no longer doing the diet, but maybe they weren't, maybe they shouldn't have been, maybe they never should have been. Maybe it wasn't the right time for them. And as I'm saying, maybe health wasn't that particularly important to them. Maybe they were just looking for weight loss, and they saw a skinny girl on YouTube and thought that I'm going to try and look like that or whatever. And a lot of people got into raw before. Now, bear in mind that most people that try a diet don't do it and aren't honest about how they actually eat. That is that is by far what happens with most diets. So every book that's ever been released that's a diet book, what happens is people, especially the ones that get popular, people buy them in the millions, and they read the book and they love it, they love the ideas of it, and very, very, very few people ever actually do the diet. Doesn't matter how easy it is or how simple, very few people ever do it. Of that tiny minority that do it or try and do it, most do it half-heartedly and don't really do it, and a very small amount actually do it right. And that applies for every diet. And I remember years ago, my mum bought a book called The Zone Diet. And the Zone Diet was very popular, I think, in the 90s. And You can even see it. There's an episode of Seinfeld where they go in a bookshop and you can see the Zone diet. And I don't know if that's product placement or whatever, but that's what we saw in that episode. And the Zone diet was so appealing because what it was saying was, have you ever had that situation where you're in the zone, where everything you're doing is going right? You're just in the flow. If you're playing a sport, you're at peak performance. You can just keep on going forever. If you're at work, you're getting through everything easily. You've got new ideas coming to you. Everything's easy. And they said, well, that's called being in the zone. And some people get in the zone, but most people rarely are in the zone. And this book was saying, if you follow this diet, you can be in the zone. And the zone was something to do with insulin. It was like a zone of insulin. So the Zone diet had this diet that was so complex, so complicated that probably no one ever actually followed the Zone diet. But I think it was basically a low carb diet. But in saying a low carb diet, it did cut out a lot of, it wasn't just all meat. I think you weren't meant to eat red meat on the Zone diet. I think they cut out certain things like red meat and processed meats. So I think you weren't meant to have bacon on the Zone diet. And it was a big list of different things that you could have and couldn't have, and you had to measure it all in a particular way to make sure you were in the zone. And when I was that age, I had a meal that was meant to be zone. I think I tried to have a zone friendly meal, and I literally believed that I was going to feel amazing after this and feel in the zone. And it was I really bought into it for a couple of days, and it was something like brown bread without butter, with I don't know, maybe it was turkey or something. I don't know what it was, and it's a specific amount of each. And thinking, wow, I'm going to feel in the zone, and obviously didn't feel any difference, right? And obviously that's unhealthy food anyway, so you're not going to feel good. Another perfect zone diet snack was milk with almonds in it or something like that, or almond powder, or so for years I had milk with almonds in it because I thought this was because I wasn't trying to be in the zone anymore, but I just kept doing it because it was an easy thing to do, and I thought it was maybe a good thing. So the Zone diet, right? How many people could have followed that diet? It was sold millions of copies. I can't imagine anyone really followed that diet for very long because it's just complicated. Like, you'd have to have someone else making the food for you and measuring it all and everything. So hard to be in the zone. But this is the same for like all diets. Very few people actually follow them. So someone saying they're vegan, that's a very broad term. Vegetarian, that's a very broad term. And so people really do follow vegetarian or a vegan diet. And maybe people follow a gluten-free diet and things that are quite simplistic. You're only taking one thing out of your diet. It's or one food group. It's quite easy to follow, really. But most diets people don't diet. I feel like weird saying that word. Most diets people don't really follow properly. They don't follow properly. So, and those who do follow it, they aren't really following it the way they say they are, and there's so much denial when it comes to food. So then, when I go online now and I see people putting up videos of, oh my god, how I used to eat when I was a fruitarian, how I was a raw vegan, what kind of crazy person was I to think that fruit was healthy? What kind of madness? It's weird to me. It's just weird. Like, what has changed in that time? What information have you come across that fruit is bad? That you can have too much fruit? Find me the information that says too much fruit is a bad thing. It's not there. It does not exist. So the fruit was not your problem, or eating fruit was not your problem. But people, it's so funny. So why do people go back to the average standard thing that everyone else does, that all the average normal people do, that get average normal results, that die 10 or 20 years too young from heart disease or cancer, that that their fitness, their health rapidly declines as they age in adulthood, that have bad skin, poor digestion, headaches, migraines, aches and pains, that rapidly deteriorate in old age, that have no energy to do anything. Like, what is the great appeal? Well, it's just that it's easy to be normal. It's easy to be average. It's easy to just follow along with the crowd. It's easy to fall in line with that. Just fall in line. Do what everyone else does. Keep your mouth shut. It's easy to do that. And then to kind of mock what you used to do. It's like that was the one time in your life that you were actually onto something for some of these people. Like that was the one time. And none of them did it right. So this is my big thing. Oh, they all told me I wasn't doing it right. You probably weren't. You know, you probably were not doing it right. People made YouTube videos of what I eat in a day that was the ideal of what they wanted people to think they ate in a day. It wasn't realistic. That wasn't really what they were eating. But they don't want to mention the fact that they were binging on junk food. They don't want to mention the fact that they had days that they went and binged on junk food. Some of them certainly don't mention the fact that they weren't vegan, that they weren't even vegan. And that's the weirdest thing to me, is the people that do that. That they're complaining about, you know, the vegan diet, they're no longer vegan. It's like, but you weren't vegan. And people say I wasn't vegan, but you actually weren't vegan. Like, we know that. Some of us know the people you lived with, the people that you were around, the people that you were in relationships with. We know there's more to this story than you want to reveal. You know, you didn't put on weight eating fruit. You know, and it's causing a lot of consternation and drama and whatever out there. But what's really happening is people are going back to normal, back to average, back to just being part of the run-of-the-mill flow of things. And the appeal of that is so huge. The appeal of that is so massive. Do you know how appealing it is for me to stop doing these videos? It's so appealing. I think about it all the time. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to stop putting videos out. I'm going to stop trying to do I've not done the group in Glasgow for a while, but I'm going to stop, hosting meet-up groups in Glasgow, trying to bring together a little community for free, share a bit of information or whatever. Stop wearing t-shirts like this. Stop, you know how appealing it is? It's really appealing to stop doing these things. To stop doing this fruit festival, just cancel it all. Well, not cancel it, but stop it from this year onwards. Not do it again, and just go back to some kind of normal life, like be a person that doesn't run a festival, a raw vegan festival. What kind of crazy person am I to do something so weird as that, right? So to go outside of all that, it's so appealing. Just go back to normal. Go and work in an office. I mean, I guess I kind of do work in an office in a way, but just go back to some normal thing. And then everyone around you is like, relaxes. Everyone else would be happy and everyone else would be okay. Because everyone's worried about you because you're doing something different. It's really appealing. And that's what we're really seeing. To me, it's not a real evaluation of the diet. Because we're not seeing people saying, here's my results. Here's what was wrong with me. And if you did have, I can totally see someone having a problem, a nutrition problem on the diet. You know, there's been long-term people that have had problems, but they found solutions. Usually, that didn't mean they had to change their diet. They just had to maybe supplement for some time, or maybe change where they lived, or how they lived, or reduce stress in their life, whatever it was. So I don't know what these people like. That's my issue. Like, what was your actual problem with the diet? It's not really the diet. It's that no one else is doing it, right? And that's so I totally get that. You know, it's such an appealing thing to go back to being like everyone else. You know, but it's not like honest. I guess it's not real, and for me, I found this lifestyle, and now I enjoy it so much, and it's so easy, and it's so simple, and yeah, there's a few downsides, but I just can't do the other thing anymore. I can't do the normal thing. I can't go and eat rice and chicken and a sauce and then have ice cream after it and have coffee with it. I can't do that. Like, I just can't do that. When I started to grow up, what I couldn't imagine was, what is it like for a child, a baby, when the parents start feeding them this terrible diet, this horrendous diet. And what's so funny is you listen to parents and they say things like, oh, my child managed to have their first adult meal. Managed to keep down their first adult meal. So you're telling me you were feeding this baby food, it was actually being sick. It was vomiting that food back up. Now that's called a sign. That is a clue if you're a parent. Vomiting that food back up, but you kept on exposing to the child to that food to the point that the body started to adapt to it, when the child was doing absolutely fine on the fruits and vegetables you were giving it previously in the breast milk. You know, and I can't even imagine what that's like for a baby or a child. It can't even communicate. This is a bad experience. This is horrible. I don't like this. And you expose it to it and expose it to it, and eventually it adapts to this bad diet, and then forever, basically, for most people, they're not even conscious of how they should feel, of how they should look, of how their skin should feel, of their digestion, of heartburn shouldn't be there, acid coming up in your mouth shouldn't be there, constipation shouldn't ever happen. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, really. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but people get conditioned onto this thing and they think that's normal. It's so completely not normal. The standard diet is so completely not normal, but everyone is following along with it. And the biggest part of it, and the biggest reason that everyone does it, is that it is addictive. It is an addiction. It's not anything to do with the nutrition in it. That is a lie. The standard diet is so poor nutrition-wise, it's been fortified for decades. All the dietary deficiencies that ever happened on starch diets, cooked food diets. They didn't happen on fruit diets. And they happened on starch and meat diets, by the way, as well. Vitamin C deficiency, scurvy in sailors. Bread and meat was their diet. So it's so, in the scheme of things, in the world, the planet Earth, oh, there's no raw vegan, there's no raw food societies. Every animal on the planet is a raw foodist. There is no argument, there's no question. There's just no argument about that. my beautiful friends. So, so let's not, don't let people say, well, what you're doing is like not right or not normal. But the thing is, my main point here, I'm getting back to, is a lot of these people weren't really right for it. They weren't ready for it. They were going from coffee and alcohol and cigarettes and hamburgers and jumping onto raw till 4 or raw food diet, or juice fasting, or all on fasting, juice fasting, right? All this stuff. Like they didn't really care about their health yet. They were trying to do it to lose weight or something. They didn't have all the connection in place. They didn't spend years cutting out all the other bad things. They tried to do everything at once. So the fact that they're back to eating an unhealthy diet and lifestyle that we all know leads to disease and death. The fact that they do that is because they don't really care about their health. They haven't made that connection. You know, I'm talking from the perspective of someone that never smoked cigarettes, never drank alcohol, basically, a couple of times, never took drugs, never did this, never did that. Exercise, look after myself. You know, before ever starting to change diet, and then over years changing diet. So I'm ready for this. Not everyone's ready for it. If you're ready for it, then go for it. If you're not ready for it yet, you'll get there. Because one day you're going to realise there's just no point in wasting time with a bad diet. There's just no point in wasting time with the second best diet. So thank you very much for watching the video. Feel free to like, share, etc.